Hi guys, welcome back to the next part of the series. Today we're going to continue with this piece right here and some of the other ones. So, this is a fairly easy one. We just need to go really quickly into Retopoflow and just start drawing. Now in this one, I do think we can benefit from using our symmetry. It's not a heavy piece and it's a rather simple element. So we're just going to go to Polypen. I'm going to start here at the center and we're going to go outside to create this nice loop right there. Let's jump to quad only. Collapse symmetry. So this one goes down right there. This one goes in right there. We can go all the way over here. We're definitely going to need to add a couple more edge loops in just a second. But this is going to give us a nice base to work. As you can see, I'm already capturing the bevel on the object without having to wait until we've finished this. And then from this, let's go to the center line right there. And right there. Perfect. This one, of course, get it right there where that little bevel would be. So from here, we're going to have a bevel going up. And I can already see that we have a nice curvature here. So let's do 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's going to be like the 4 sides that we need right there. That means that this faces right here, we're going to need pretty much the same amount of lines. So I'm going to go with my loops tools, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. We go back to Polypen and we just go from one to this one, from this one to this one to that one, and this one right there. From here we go forward. Same with this one, same with this one, and same with this one. You can go a little bit more forward, of course. We create a nice little edge loop right there. Right there. I don't remember if I made this asymmetrical. I think so, right? A little bit. So let's go right there. There. And snap it. This one, of course, is going to go all the way down here. And then over here, we're also going to need, well, a certain amount of edge loops. So we're going to need our center line right there. I believe it was 2 and 3. We go Polypen. Create a little bevel right there. This one goes over here. This one goes up here. Here, we need to be a little bit careful because I do want to capture this sort of corner that we have right there. So I'm going to go and create that little corner. I do think we could benefit from a little edge loop right there. So this is the bevel that's kind of following there. 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 Let's bring this back. There we go. And now we just literally make this a little bit flatter like that. Maybe we can add another edge loop right there. I don't think we really need it, to be honest. This one goes down. And then this one's going to connect pretty much all the way over here. So it does look like a little bit stretched, but again, should be good. From here to the side and from here to the side. There we go. So as you can see, we've successfully created this thing right here. And here's the thing, I don't want to do double the work. It will be quite time consuming, right? And even though it's a slightly different on this side, it's not that different. So technically we could mirror this to the other side. So I'm going to just get out of Retopoflow. Let me hide the original cube right there. And let's focus on this one. So I'm going to go wireframe mode, faces. Let's go faces and let's delete these faces. Let's say delete faces. If we go to the top view, we can go to vertex, grab all of the vertex here, scale x0. Sorry, in this case, let's get rid of this. Scale x0. No, scale y0. Scale y0. We're getting the proper one. Scale y, yeah, 0. There we go. Let's go to 7. And we just turn this on, a GY. Make sure that they're perfectly snapped. Perfect. Let's get rid of this modifier. Well, actually, the first modifier we do need, so we're going to apply. And we're going to add another modifier, another mirror modifier, in this case on the y-axis. Bisect on the y-axis. Let's turn on the cube to make sure that, yes, we are capturing it, as you can see right there. Perfect. And let's just apply this. So as you can see, that saves us quite a bit of time because instead of having to do this twice, we just do it once and we shade smooth. And that's it. That's our our smooth mesh right here for the base of the element. So let's call this hammer base underscore low. We're gonna bring it into a low polys, and then this cube 3, same name, different ending. Hammer base underscore high. And there we go. So again, if we take a look at the low polys, you can see that that one looks really, really good. Could we give it another subdivision surface? Yeah, of course. It's going to increase the poly count a little bit more, but we could definitely give it to it, and that will be fine. In this case, I'm going to leave it like that. Let's see what else. Nope, not that one. At least not yet. There we go. That one. This is a simple one. So if you guys remember, this was also a cylinder originally. However, this does have a couple of extra cuts that I would like to capture. It's asymmetrical. Is it asymmetrical? I don't remember if we did it asymmetrical. Doesn't look asymmetrical. Let's go 7. It doesn't look asymmetrical, but interestingly enough, it looks like it's like I rotated this like some sort of degree. So let's just unrotate it so it's like perfectly there. Yeah, there we go. It seems like it had some rotation on C. Cool. So let's go to Retopoflow. Let's save real quick before anything bad happens. There we go. I'm actually gonna save as and give it another number. And there we go. We're gonna Retopoflow and add active. So this one's a fairly simple piece that we can do a smooth later on. But the most interesting parts of the ones that I want to capture the most are this ones right here, so that we get a nice bake. So I'm gonna start right here. Let's of course go to the options and let's do tri-quad. Again, it's a simple piece, so we can definitely turn on symmetry. Shouldn't really break it. There we go. So that's a triangle right there. And that's a triangle right there. This line right here, it's gonna go roughly around the center. I would say that's a good position. Let's go up. Let's go here. Let's go there. Let's go down there to capture the change in silhouette a little bit better. Let's start there. There we go. Up. Up. I love Retopology. I know I sound a little bit crazy saying that I love this thing, even though it's very time consuming, but it does become quite relaxing after you've done it. Like I've done it for years now, and for me it's really interesting because it's kind of like solving a Sudoku. So every time I do it, you need to find the new solution because no object is completely the same. There are certain things, of course, that you try to look for, but again, every object is usually slightly different. So I do feel a little bit crazy saying that I love Retopology, but I quite enjoy it. I do think, if you were to ask me about the future of 3D, I do think Retopology is going to be one of those things that's going to be replaced by AI not too long into the future. Like I give it about like 2 years maybe. We're in 2023 right now at the time of this recording, and maybe by 2025 we're gonna have some really strong retopology tools that are gonna like analyze the models that are out there, and it will give you like a really exact one. The problem is we have a lot of automatic retopology tools, for instance in ZBrush, for like environment pieces and things where you just triangulate everything and you don't care, which is fine. But for more specific things, or for more optimized elements, we still haven't like find the perfect solution. For instance, characters. Yes, there are certain tools that allow you to get some workable, decent topology for characters. But if you want like perfect like Pixar or Disney level like retopology, hand retopology still is unbeaten in that regard. So here, for instance, I'm gonna do a nice little bevel because you can see there's a little bit of a bevel there. So kind of want to capture it with a nice edge loop. Edge loops are really important. We're going to talk about edge loops once we go into the UV portion of this process, because the more edge loops, or the cleaner the edge loops we have, the better. That's why some automatic retopologies, like the ones from ZBrush, for instance, are not great, because they generate a lot of spirals, and the spirals make it very difficult to properly like retopologize or UV the character, and also the formations, and that's a bunch of different things that are not ideal. Here I'm just gonna triangulate those two so that we don't have to have any extra polygons, and there we go. And over here, Let's go to the center line. There we go. And just fill this in. There we go. That looks a little bit better. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So as you can see, we've successfully captured the silhouette there on the spikes, and that should give us a very, very nice bake. Let's get out of this. I always like to just give it a look. Let's do shade smooth. Yeah, that looks good. Again, we could do a bevel or something else, but I feel since it's a small bit or a small piece of the element, we don't really need it. The other thing is, if later on, after we do the bakes, we see, and it's common, it's very common for this to happen, if we see that there are certain things that are not working as perfectly, we can also fix them. So this one's going to be called, let's call this small ring, let's call this handle, small ring underscore low. Copy the name. Let's grab the other one. This one's going to be underscore high. We bring this to the highs and we bring this to the lows. Oh, what happened here? Oh yeah, here, the lows. Perfect. So now we take a look at this. Again, that looks really good. From a silhouette perspective, this is looking quite nice. So yeah, now let's just go for the final cylinder, because I wanna finish all of these pieces in this video. I know this one might go a little bit longer, but I know you guys, hopefully you guys like to hear me talk. So yeah, as I was mentioning, well, let's go Retopology at active. It's a little bit heavy, 320,000. That's a little bit high. But as I was mentioning, there will be changes. AI is something that we've been talking about quite a bit for the past year or so. At first, I wasn't scared about it. Like, I saw the images that AI was producing, they were super ugly. Nowadays, you see the images, you're like, damn, that's really, really, really good. So we do need to take we need to be not careful, but we just need to be mindful about what's happening, because as 3D artists, one of our main goals is to adapt to the tools, right? As I was mentioning, like this tool, right, Retopoflow, this was not available several years ago, and we had to work with like more traditional things, and it would just take a little bit more time. Nowadays, thanks to this tool, we can focus on doing more creative things, such as the sculpting and the modeling, and we don't need to waste as much time doing retopology. Um, I believe that's something that's going to happen to the 3D world eventually. Like, we're going to be getting rid of the boring stuff, and we're going to be focusing a little bit more on the interesting things. Okay, here's a cool trick here. I'm going to draw a square on the middle of this sort of like thing. And then from here, I'm going to create this sort of like wall. Like this. It's kind of like a trapezius, see that? And then we just join these guys together. That's going to give us, like, that's going to allow me to capture a little bit of this thing without actually having to send more loops down here to the base of the cylinder. Let's move this one to the side. Let's already create like the whole cylinder, which is going to be roughly around this. There we go. So we're going to do the same thing here. From here, we're going to go up. Just move this a little bit closer to the center. There we go. There we go. There we go. Nice. And over here, again, we don't want to like bring all of these guys up. So I'm going to grab the center lines like this and just create some triangles. So right there. Let's go tri-quad. Go. That way we keep it low poly and we don't add more geometry than what we need to. One triangle right there, another one right here. I do think adding an extra edge loop here might be worth it, just so that we can capture the curvature there a little bit better. And maybe later on, I think I'm gonna add a bevel to the whole thing right here, because that does feel like it's again needed. So let's go back to polypen. We go over here. Here's where we need to be very mindful of how much stress we're applying to all of this edge loops. So this edge loop right here, this one's too far away. So let's just like relax this and move them a little bit closer to the center so that we don't have to jump too much to get to the next point. Here we already know that we have a big hit, like a big like triangle. So I'm gonna create a triangle right there, and then another one right there. There we go. And that tells me that there's probably gonna be another one right here, kind of like a diamond shape. Because from here, we're gonna have the square. 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 It's a long triangle. I don't love this long triangles because they can generate some weird like artifacts later on. But again, let's keep it for now, and if anything happens, I'll show you how to fix it later. We go here. That's one. And again, it makes just more sense to add one edge loop right there. Polypen. Go. Polypen. Again, it makes more sense. Like it's just easier if we just add one edge loop right there. Now, if we add this edge loop right here, of course, that does change things slightly. So that does mean that over here, it might not be a bad idea to continue this edge loop all the way across, right? So for instance, we can grab our knife brush, start right there. Actually, I don't like using the knife brush as much in this one. It behaves a little bit weirdly, so I don't like it as much. I mean, it doesn't look bad, so I'm gonna keep it like that. Let's go polypen. We're gonna join these two together, and then let's add loops. Let's add like 3 loops or so. Actually, let's do 4 loops. Oh. And then with polypen, start filling in this. So even if there's a couple of triangles right there, that's fine. This and a couple of triangles right, because they're not going to be seen at any point, right? Same thing over here. Let's go quad, because I do want to create like a nice edge loop around these guys. They seem to having an interesting bevel there, so feels worth it to add that edge loop. And then it's just from this one to this one. Again, just let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 edge loops. Start like closing this holes right here. This is just like a pole. We could actually like close it as a pole as well. It's perfectly valid. However, I kind of like having it like quads. That's it. Let's isolate. See how this looks. Not bad. As I mentioned, I do think I'm gonna go. Let's go to this guy and apply. Let's apply. I want to go to this edge loop right here, and this edge loop right here. This one right here. Like make sure that we're grabbing all the edge loop and just bevel it once, just so that it catches that border a little bit better. It seems to have a little bit of an issue here. No problem. Just go number 1. Select these two guys, M, and add the center. There we go. Let's get rid of the displays. Again, just to check that everything is good, let's do a subdivision surface. And as long as things subdivide nicely, then that means that we're good. Right click and shade smooth. And that's going to be our low poly version. 390 triangles. That's perfectly fine. We're just going to grab the name. Let's call this handle small. This is going to be big ring. Handle big ring low. And of course, this one is going to be handle big ring high. This one we bring it all the way to the high polys, and this one we bring it on the low polys. And there we go. So as you can see, we got all of our low polys there. It's looking quite nice. Only 12,000 triangles. Really good. Well, 12, is it 1200? No, 12,000. 12,000 triangles, and it's looking good. Like, we're in a really, really good position. We're left with only 3 more things: the blade, the hammer, and the volcano. So let's do the hammer first, because it's probably the last one where we're going to be using this like old techniques, and we're going to leave the blade and the volcano for last, because we're going to be using a new technique for that one. So yeah, hang on tight, and I'll see you back on the next one.